Hi guys and welcome back. My name is Jasmine and today I'm going to be ranking all of my single blushes. If you are new here, please stick around. I am in the month of November for all of my bonus videos going through and ranking most of the categories in my makeup collection. I just did base products last week. That video will be linked down below and in the cards. And I'm going to be doing highlighters next, and then eyeshadow palettes, and then I wasn't sure if eyeliners would be that interesting because I kind of feel just meh about most eyeliners, and I don't keep ones that I don't like they're all just kind of the same to me. And then lip product would be too much, but if you want to see lip products, how I feel about them, all of that, my Wheel of Lippies project will be linked down below, and that's where I'm going through all of my lip products in a really deep dive fashion, and I will have a deep declutter coming up in January where I talk through a lot of those. So today we're doing blushes. In preparation for this video, I kind of hypothetically was okay, what's going on? How do I feel about most of these? And it was surprisingly a lot easier than I originally anticipated that filming this series was going to be. And it's very clear to me what my top 5 are. So if you like this kind of video, please continue watching. And without further ado, let's hop straight into it. So starting at the bottom, the bottom two kind of tied for me, and they're for the same reason. The first is this mini that I have of the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Blush in the shade Provence, and the Hip Dot Powder in Solstice. I am guessing this is a blush because there is no information on this packaging. This is a little deluxe size sample, I think. Both of these I have tried, and then I ended up going in with something else because they are just not punchy enough. They don't have enough pigment or color. They're both very light, so they don't really show up on me. So for example, that's Hip Dot, the Solstice shade. You can kind of see it, and then here is Provence. I do think these are just not the right color for me, but I think even with Provence, you can see it now, but it's not blended out. It's because it's just a stripe of the full product. As soon as I go through and blend the way I would on my cheeks, it just completely disappeared. You can kind of see that it's wet there. And so these two are at the bottom just because I don't think that these are really meant for me. And I honestly might let them go at the end of the year when I declutter, just because I'm not going to use them because I can't realistically use them. The next tier are things that I either haven't used a ton, or I just don't know why. I think there's just something that doesn't draw me to them. The first is this Model Co blush cheek powder in the shade Cosmopolitan. This is objectively a really pretty shade, but when I was going through and deciding what I wanted to pan in my 20 and 2024 project, because I was kind of rotating through a lot of my blushes, this just never stuck out to me. I think it looks more neutral in the pan in my head, and then when I go to actually put it on, it's quite bright. And another blush that I feel I don't reach for because it's super bright is this Bow Babe Beauty Blushing Blush in, I don't know, maybe the shade is Blushing Blush. These, I have a bright color that is in my closer to the top, and I think it just comes down to undertones. This is the Bow Babe Beauty, and then this is the Model Co. They're both fine. I just think that if I didn't have them, I wouldn't miss them. I reach for them occasionally, but nothing crazy. Then something that's just really new to my collection, but I think I'm just a little bit disappointed. Expectation versus reality. This is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores blush in the shade Naturally Pretty, and then in parentheses it says Warm Peach. So I'm expecting something like what I have on my cheeks right now, and this is straight up pink. So I don't have an issue with this color. I actually think it's really beautiful. I just think that like I think of it when I want to do something like really warm and peachy and like almost orange like I'm doing today, and it just doesn't work for that. So I've struggled a little bit reaching for it, but as a blush, it's beautiful. I think I just need to start thinking of this as a pink blush, like, or a watermelon blush, because that's how I like. This is a cool tone pink and this is just like a slightly warm tone pink, but I would not call this coral. And I'll swatch next to something that I consider to be like peachy or coral, just for reference as we go along. The next two are kind of grouped together as well, and they are both cream blushes. The first is this Nude Sticks Nudies Matte All Over Face color in the shade Sunkissed Cool, and then I have this Ilia All Over Multi-Stick in the shade At Last. I like both of these and I use both of these. I travel with them. I would say like these are something where if I lost it, I might not immediately run out and replace it, but I would have no problem panning it and reaching for it on like a daily basis. And so this is the Nude Stick shade. The matte formula of this is just, in my opinion, slightly harder to blend out than the dewy formula of this like nudies range that they have. And so I think when I compare it to my other Nude Sticks blush, it just, I think if this was the only one I'd have, I'd like it a lot more. Does that make sense? Like, comparison is the thief of joy. And I just, like, compared to my favorite cream blush, these are good. I actually really enjoyed working on this Ilia one in my 20 and 2024 project pan. It's just a little bit like tacky. And I noticed that I had to do my blush last, because if I did my blush earlier in the makeup look, I would like get like fallout and stuff would stick to the blush later, because I'm not someone who typically goes in with a cream blush and then a powder blush. I'm way too heavy-handed for that. So I would say like that's my only deterrent from using it. But frankly, I have so little of this left. I'll probably like you just like pan it for like 2 or 3 months next year and use it up. But I would not run out and repurchase it because of that stickiness. So it's a beautiful product. It blends beautifully. I think the color is gorgeous. There's just like a slight formula thing that I don't absolutely love. And then, yeah, the Nudies one, the Nudies Matte Stick. It's a beautiful color. It's just, usually I like cream blushes for very quick makeup when I'm traveling, and it's a little bit harder to just like blend out with my fingers or blend over powders. If I go in with a powder bronzer and then in with this, I struggle a little bit, but I don't with the dewy formula. Then the next are two blushes that I absolutely love. They are just not everyday colors for me, and so I just could not rank them in my top 5 because I don't think I could use them every single day for like a full calendar year and be happy. And the first is this Misho Beauty single blush in the shade Misho, I think. And this is a beautiful bright color. I think what separates this from the other bright pinks that were lower ranked is it almost has a little bit of purple in it, I feel like, but it's quite sheer. So I'm actually going to swatch it right here. I got a lot on my finger, and you can see like this is pulling much more straight pink compared to this has a little bit of purple in it. And so I think it, when I wear a light amount, it's bright, you can see it. It's kind of that blushiness that was trending a little bit ago, but I don't think it looks as jarring because it kind of has a purple undertone. You know, this color theory that like purples look like pinks on deeper skins. I don't have deeper skin, but I think that color theory with my undertone and stuff kind of holds true in the sense that it makes it a more flattering shade for me than a true bright pink. I do have a lot of fun playing with this. I will actually reach for it sometimes when I'm doing a louder look or a really cool toned look and I want a blush that just kind of complements it. But I don't know if I would get rid of my other cool tone blushes and just have this one because you need a light hand with it. The next one is my Laura Geller Baked Blush and Brighten blush in the shade Tropic Hues. These alliterative names are killing me, y'all. This is, again, stunning. I love it. But I don't know if you can sense a theme here. I like a matte blush. That is what I typically go for. That's what I would buy. This came in like a gift with purchase, and it is really pretty, but it is just so shiny. I can't realistically use it as a blush. It's kind of like a blush topper. Here, let's get, like, when I actually spread it out, it's just so shiny. It's a little bit too much for all over the cheeks for me. So I'll go in with something like one of these warmer toned blushes, and then I'll like take a thinner, fluffier, like small but very fluffy brush and just kind of buff it in towards the tops of my cheekbones. And I think it looks so pretty. I use one of the shades from my Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette in a very similar way, and I love the look, but this could not be my only blush because this is the only thing that I ever really layer on top of other blushes. And then we have gotten to my top 5. These aren't necessarily in any particular order. I would say, like, I think the order changes depending on the time of the year, so due to warm tone, cool tone. So I'm gonna start with the cool tones. I have this Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur blush in the shade Mauve Sunrise. Oh, this is, it's a mess. I panned this a little bit this year. I think this used to be like more of a putty formula, but it has since dried out, unfortunately. I do think of this as a mauve, but I would say it definitely has like not, I need to move to my other hand. It's not so cool toned that it ever looks like a bruise on me. I think there is a little bit of warmth to it, or maybe it's like kind of more neutral than the other one I'm about to show, but it's really pretty. And I think it just blends so effortlessly. Like, it's really easy for me to just put this on. As you can see, it's like kind of just a very natural color for me, I think. The formula's really nice, not too pigmented. Like, I really dug in there to get this amount of color, but it blends out so nicely. And I would have no problem panning it if push came to shove. The next cool tone blush is basically purple. This is the Lorac powder blush in the shade Chroma. I've actually had this since Christmas 2017, I think. This is like really old in my collection, and I will fall in and out of love with it. It's genuinely just the color. I think it is such a beautiful purpley color, but depending on my makeup style, sometimes I want warm tones, sometimes I want this. And so this is definitely top 5. And I think once we hit the cooler months for realsies and I've lost any semblance of a tan, January, February, I will be back up in this every single day. And then the next 3 are warm toned blushes. The first is the fanciest blush, maybe even one of the fanciest things that I own, and it's this Hermes blush in the shade Rose Ombre. And you would think that this color would be too light, but it kind of, in the way that the blush I'm wearing now, it's light, but it brings a lot of warmth to my face. That's it right here. And I think it is so pretty. It doesn't swatch well. And that's why I originally kept the Hip Dot blush as a blush, because the shade does work so well on my actual skin. And it is really light, but I think there's just something about the tone and the warmth to it that really brightens my face. And when I need a subtle blush because I went in really crazy with the eyes, or I'm wearing a bright lip, this is almost always perfect. Another one that I panned this year, I rotated through a lot of my blushes this year, is this Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in the shade Party Dress. this is another beautiful coral shade. And as you can see, this is what I consider to be like a peach. And compared to that, It Cosmetics one, this only looks pinker the more that I look at it. And so this, if I want a true peach blush, especially during the summer when I'm wearing a lot of gold jewelry, a lot of warmer lip colors, a lot of bronzer, this just works so perfectly with everything that I could possibly do. And then the last product, the top 5 was in no particular order. I kind of go through phases with all of them where I'm using it all the time and then I'll pick up a new one. This is my Nude Sticks Nudies Bloom All Over Face color in the shade Sweet Cheeks. This blends like a dream. It is this is the dewy formula, and so it is a little bit more emollient than the matte formula, but it doesn't stay super tacky. It will kind of set down after a minute. I get so many compliments when I'm wearing this, even if my base is like kind of janky because I'm on a plane, dehydrated, whatever. I love traveling with this because I feel like it makes my skin look really hydrated and glowy without moving around. And it's just a very flattering color. I think it brightens up my face a lot. And so this is my go-to for any sort of like weekend away or work trip or anything like that. And it's so easy to blend out with my fingers, a brush, a sponge. It is so versatile. And if you are thinking about picking up a Nude Sticks blush, I would definitely recommend the dewy formula over the matte, and I think that's the only time I've ever said that in my entire life as far as blush goes. So that is everything that I have for you today. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below of this ranking. Do you own any of these? Do you think maybe I've misjudged anything? And most of all, I hope you are having an incredible, awesome day wherever you are, and that I get to see you in a future video. Thanks, guys.